So welcome back to part 2 of Tasting Cider 101. In this episode, we're going to talk about the sugar content and acid.
Welcome, my name is Chris Passarelli, and today I will be talking about sweetness, acid, and the balance between the two in cider. The first primary obvious one, sweetness. This is the sugar that you taste. You're all familiar with that flavor. And it goes anywhere from bone dry, where you're just getting the characteristics of the apples, all the way up to your sweet, just sumptuous, syrupy ice ciders. On the other hand, you have acid, which can be anywhere from mild to very sharp, and barely noticeable, all the way up to feeling it on your teeth and cheeks. And the balance between that sweetness and that acidity is going to be key to having a balanced cider. So starting down at the far end of the spectrum here is Whitewood Old Fangled. This is a local cider and a blend of traditional heirloom cider apples. This is fermented all the way down to dryness, but there's significant acid and tannins, which we will explore in a later video. Next up, we have the Bull Run Gravenstein single varietal cider. This, as a single varietal cider, is very expressive of the only apple kind that went into it, in this case, Gravensteins. Since those are very acidic apples, this is a tart cider. It is also nearly dry. Next up, we have the Schilling Grapefruit cider. This is our very own here. We're getting into the semi-sweet, semi-dry segment of the ciders. This one is balanced in both acidity and sweetness. There's a reason this is in the middle of our spectrum. We have J.K. Scrumpy's Summer Cider, again balanced in acidity and tartness. Next up from California, we have Sonoma's Pear Cider, which is called the Pitchfork. And this one is starting to get a little on the sweeter side. It's still balanced by acidity, so it doesn't get sticky. If you have too much sweetness without the balancing acidity, you'll feel it all over your tongue, and that's no fun. So this is a well-balanced example as we get into semi-sweet and sweet ciders. And finally, among our typically fermented ciders, we have the Atlas Blackberry. This one is quite sweet. It's expressive in its berry. You've got your dark fruit and your blackberries, but it has enough acidity that it is light on the tongue. Again, you don't want it syrupy, but this one manages to keep itself balanced and is completely drinkable and delicious. All right, last but not least on the sweetness scale, we have the pear and apple wines. These ciders are a whole nother level of sweetness above your typical ciders. These are essentially distilled by freezing to make these very sweet, just luxurious dessert drinks. Many of the craft ciders these days are shooting for this area in the spectrum. They want to be expressive of their ingredients, but still quite just delicious. That's obviously a target for cider.